My name is Juan Gerardo and I will talk about the cell. What is the cell? The cell is the basic membrane-bound unit that contains the fundamental molecules of life and of which all living things are composed. We have two types of cells, the animal cell and the plant cell. The animal cell is an eukaryotic cell because it has the nucleus. The nucleus is the control center of the cell that contains the DNA and regulates the gene expression. Also, we have the cell membrane. What is it? The cell membrane is a selectively permeable lipid bilayer that encloses the contents of the cell and regulates the transport of materials into and out of it. Next, we have the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the fluid that gives a cell the shape. We have the mitochondria also. The mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. What does it mean? The mitochondria are the responsible for generating energy. We have the ribosomes. The ribosomes are a small structure composed of RNA and proteins that are the size of protein synthesis within the cell. Uh, Next, we have the lysosomes. What are the lysosomes? The lysosomes are membrane-bound organelles containing enzymes that break down waste materials and cellular debris. Finally, we have the Golgi apparatus that is responsible for transporting, modifying, and packaging proteins and lipids into vesicles for delivery to target destinations. Then we have the plant cell. The plant cell is a prokaryotic cell because it's lacking of a nucleus. The plant cell has almost all the organelles like the animal cell, but because don't have nucleus, it has the cell wall. What is the cell wall? The cell wall is a rigid layer that provides support, protection, and shape to the cell, and has a plasma membrane. This is a semi-permeable membrane that controls the movement of substances in and out of air. Finally, the plant cells have chloroplasts that are the site of photosynthesis where the sunlight, carbon dioxide, and water change into glucose and oxygen.
Hi, my name is Christian Jacqueline Lara Valadez of Group 603, and I will explain the topics of the characteristics of living things, the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell, and the pregnancy. First of all, I will explain the characteristics of living things, that it's a set of biological process in which something it has to be alive. To consider something alive, it has to be one cell or many cells in it. And it has many characteristics like the reproduction. It's a biological process in which are produced or parents. And some characteristics is that it has to grow up. Another is the reproduction. It can be sexual reproduction or asexual reproduction. This sexual reproduction is a combination of genetic information between two individuals of different sexes, like male and female. And the asexual reproduction are the ones that do not need to procreate. It can be of one producer. And the main characteristics are that it breathes, that it moves, that it responds to stimulates, that reproduce and grow, and are dependent of the environment. I will pass to the next topic, that is the difference between the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. In summary, the prokaryotic cells do not have a nucleus and do not have a membrane organelles. And the eukaryotic cells has it. They have a nucleus and the membrane, in which that helps the cell to grow up and still being alive.
Hi, my name is Diego and I'm going to talk about the history of the microscope and about obesity. First, I'm going to talk about the history of the microscope. So we start at the 14th centuries when where The spectacle was made in Italy, and then we go to 1590s. There are two Dutch spectacle makers. They are father and son, Hans and Zacharias Janssen. They create the first microscope, and in 1667, uh, Anton van Leeuwenhoek he used a microscope with one lens to observe insects and other specimen. So Anton was the first to observe bacteria in the 18th centuries. As a technology improved, microscopy become more popular among scientists, and part of this was due to the discovery that combining two types of glass reduce the chromatic effect. And in 180,000, no, 1830, Joseph Jackson Lister, he discovers that using weak lenses together at various distance provides clear magnification. And in 1878, a mathematical theory linking resolutions of light wavelength is invented to Ernest Abe. And in 1903, Richard Sixmondi invents the ultra microscope, which allows for observation of a specimen below the wavelength of light. And in 1932, transparent biological materials are studied for the first time using Fritz Cernic invention of the phase contrast microscope. So in 1938, just 6 years later of the invention of the phase contrast microscope, comes the electron microscope, developed by Ernst Ruska, who realized that using electrons in a microscope enhance resolution. So 1981, a 3D specimen image is possible with the invention of the scanning tunneling microscope by Gerd Binning and Heinrich Roger. So there is the origin of the word microscope. According to the online etymology dictionary, it is as follows. So in 1656, from Mott El Microscopium is an instrument for viewing what is small. That to it is means of viewing, and from a scopian look at microscopic of minute size is attested from 1016 years. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the obesity too, and obesity is a long-term chronic health condition that progress over time. Obesity is defined by excess body fat, adipose tissue that may impair health. So, what causes obesity? Taking more calories than you burn in daily activity and exercise on a long term basis can lead to obesity. Over time, these extra calories add up and cause weight gain, but it's not always just about calories, and in calories out or having a sedentary lifestyle. While those are indeed causes of obesity, some causes you can control. So a common specific causes of obesity include the genetics, which can affect how your body processes food into energy and how fat is stored. So that's the metabolism, I guess. Well, no, I guess, yeah. So growing older, which can lead to less muscle mass and a slower metabolic rate, making it easier to gain weight. So two, it could be not to sleep enough, which can lead to hormonal change that make you feel hungrier. And there are some symptoms of the obesity, and there are no specific symptoms associated with obesity. So a doctor may diagnose obesity based on the following factors. It can be excess amounts of abdominal fat that are higher than the amounts of body fat in other areas, a waist circumference of greater than 40 inches for men and 35 inches for women. Trusted sources, a BMI, it needs to be graded, no, lower than 30. That's all.
Good afternoon. I'm from group 603. My name is Gael Ali Rosales, and I give you a brief explanation of the forms of the cellular transport. Um, the cellular transport is the process by which substances enter and leave the cell through the plasma membrane. Um, it is divided into passive and active transport. The passive transport, it does not require energy and occurs along the concentration gradient from higher to lower concentration, and also includes the simple diffusion, movement of a small concentration, movement of small non-polar molecules such as oxygen and carbon dioxide across the membrane. Osmosis is the diffusion of water through a semi-impermeable membrane, and also the facilitated diffusion, movement of larger or polar molecules through channel or carrier protein.
Hi, I'm Maria Siskia Montoya, and I'm gonna talk about the last three topics: the level organization, homeostasis, and addictions. Level organization are the different levels at which living things are structures. The level organization include atom, the small unit of matter made of an atomic nucleus and electron; cell, the basic unit of life and the smallest unit that can reproduce; organelle, the simplest level organization for living things made of macromolecules; tissues, a group of cells that perform a similar function; organ, a group of tissues that perform a similar function; organ system, a group of organs that work together, such as the respiratory or circulatory system; organism, a living being that can perform all the functions necessary for life; biosphere, the highest level organization for living things encompassing all other levels. Explanation, the structure and function of cell vary depending on the organism, but all cells have some things in common. Homeostasis is the body ability to maintain a stable internal balance despite external and internal changes. This balance is necessary for the body to function properly. How it works? The body detects changes in the environment and in itself. Regulatory system processes information and executes responses to correct the problem. The nervous system and the endocrine system are mainly responsible for homeostasis. The last topic is addiction. Addiction is that a person can no longer control what they consume, and this has consequences and they can lose control. Addiction is a chronic disease characterized by inability to control the use of a substance or to perform a behavior. This can be harmful to the person and their environment. Addictions can be to substances such as alcohol, tobacco, cocaine, amphetamines, or behaviors such as gambling, shopping, work, sex, games, or internet use. Thanks for paying attention.